This is Kelly.
And this is Amy.
And you're listening to Diary of a Death Investigator. Amy has a good one she said for us this week.
Mostly I've just been thinking about this case a lot because we've had some really, really miserably cold weather. So a lot of times when it's this cold now, all I can think about is, man, I'm so glad that I don't work in emergency response anymore. All those suckers who still have to do that.
I think right now it's any job that you work is cold. Like if you're driving in the crappy weather or if I'm cold inside my house right now.
Well, it's really just like knowing that you have to get out and actually work in it. Like it sucks. So all those people that I don't like that still do that job, I hope they have to work that 24/7. I wish all those homicides upon you.
Amy, that's not good karma to wish on anybody.
It's karma coming back around, Kelly. That's what it is. Okay. So I have talked about some cases already where I've had to work in cold weather, but like some especially really do stick out to me. So this is one of them.
And we're calling this episode Stand By Your Man.
This is one of a couple of cases that I had to work over a weekend, or gosh, was this a weekend or was it just one really long, miserable shift? I can't remember because it just seemed like it was all one stuck together clump of just horribleness. It was all bad. It seems like the weather comes in phases every few years where it's just like one big ice storm. It doesn't necessarily like snow, and when it does, it melts and it just turns into ice, and then you have to drive on that ice, and it's just terrible. So this one, it was when I was working in the districts, and so I had to drive, of course, like a long ways to get to this. And so it was one of those things that called me and they're like, yeah, you drive out to this telephone pole and then you turn right and then you drive down this dirt road. And I'm like, everything's white and what you're telling me is not computing in my brain. Cause I'm like one of those people where I'm like, if I can't follow the GPS where it's like, go to this McDonald's and turn left here. And then you see like, this high school or something, I'm not going to get there. Like, especially if it's out in the middle of nowhere, it ain't happening. Like, you better drive out somewhere where I can see you with your red and blues flashing, where I can just follow you in. And it just so happened to be at some house where I literally had to off-road. And we have these trucks that have like a extended bed in them and then one of those like covers on the bed. And they're really light in the back. So you're like sliding all over the ice. So you're like already stressing as you're driving out to the scene. So, and I know it was at least an hour drive without like the icy roads. So I'm driving there. And I like put heavy stuff in the back to weigh it down. And we don't always carry bodies. Like it was more typical for us not to haul bodies in our trucks because we have transport. But a lot of times I tried, like if we had bad weather, I would try to haul bodies for our transport so that they didn't have to drive out there with us, because a lot of times they were driving vans and like their vans they were like sat low to the ground. So I'm like, why would like if one of us is already out there, like why am I going to have them out there too? Like and have them risk driving through that crappy weather that's, off-roading for them in a van, like in a minivan.
So you said that you would put weighted stuff in the back of your vehicle? Mm-hmm. Like what?
So I have a weight set in my garage because I like to do Olympic lifting. So sometimes I would put like my 45 rubber dumbbells or like my plates in the back of the truck so that it wouldn't skid around. So
that's smart.
Because all of our supplies in the back didn't weigh it down enough. So it was just too light in the back. So that's what I would do is just weigh it down with literal weights sometimes if you had cat litter, that was really good too. But like literal weights was like the easiest and quickest way you could take it in and out of the back. I mean, a lot of times if I were transporting bodies, like I think I've said before, the bodies that I would transport that I could take in and out of the truck myself were like children, or like skeletal remains, because if it was anyone heavier, I wasn't going to risk hurting myself doing that. So a lot of times when I'm driving places, I would have to take like the turnpike to get there. And of course, these semi drivers, they are hauling it down these roads because their trailers are heavy. Like they do not care who they run off the road, how fast you're going. Like they will literally run you off the road, and like they have timelines to get stuff places. And like, I understand that, but like there were a lot of times where they would pass you on a bridge. And it was so scary. So like I'm gripping the steering wheel like so hard. I think like my knuckles were probably white. And I'm leaning forward and I'm so scared because I'm like, I'm going to crash trying to get to the scene of this person who's already dead. And like you're practically in tears because you're so scared. Like you're sliding everywhere. And you're just frustrated with the whole situation.
This is why I don't live in an area that snows. Like, I'm not a snow bunny. I used to work in an area that was close to Tahoe. Well, I lived there, but then I had to go up to Tahoe. And I hit rain, fog, and snow all in one drive. And I was a wreck by the time I got over there.
Well, it's like with ice, it's like extra, like you can be the most cautious person, but you can't control how other people around you drive. They think they're expert drivers and they can be just speeding around you. Like these guys that have these lifted 4x4s, like, which is even worse, right? Because they have nothing in the bed of their trucks and they have these lifted wheels. And then they're the ones that are sliding around the worst. And I mean, you see pileups in front of you and you're like tapping on your brakes, like trying to slow down. And then someone comes up behind you and you're like, oh, you're just preparing to get smacked. So that's like, you're already tensed up. And then you have other calls coming in from hospitals and stuff of other people dying. And other people are like, what do you mean you're not coming to my scene? I'm like, dude, I'm just trying to get to this one homicide that's out in the BFE. And there's no way. I'm like, you want to wait 8 hours for me to get to your scene? I'm like, go ahead and release the body. And I'm like, I'm never going to get there. So you can be mad at me, but in reality, it's not safe for anybody. So like, you can be mad at me. I don't care. Take pictures on your own. And I'm writing down this report. And I said, I'm just trying to get to my one scene safely. And like, that was one of the most frustrating things about that job, was having to prioritize like your own safety on top of other people's safety, on top of like the law, on top of people's families being mad at you for not showing up. And like, well, we want an autopsy. Well, technically that's not worthy of an autopsy because technically they're like attended by a doctor, and like you have all these things you're trying to deal with and you're so stressed out because like you're crying because you're having to drive in this crap and people are zooming around you and they don't care. Like they don't even care about their own safety. So like you're just trying to drive and get there because some idiot just got himself shot. So yeah, you're like driving there and you're like, okay, on my way, like 2 hours later.
I think people can empathize right now just because the weather across the country is like really rough everywhere you are at. Like, you know, we're getting rain, you're getting snow or ice or whatever you're getting where you're at. And I was telling somebody about fog the other day because I had to drive to Southern California and I was really worried about the fog because the place that you and I grew up, it's super foggy and people don't even understand how foggy it can get because when we were kids, instead of snow delays, it would be fog delays. And where we lived, it would be 3-hour fog delays or school would get canceled because the fog was so bad. I used to drive in it quite a bit and now I'm out of practice. So and even when you are in practice of driving in these, it's most of the people who are the skilled drivers who are driving slow and being more cautious because they know like it just takes one fleet of ice, one stop sign, one mishap to become the victim.
Well, I'm just thinking like, if I die, who's coming to pick me up and then going to work that other scene? Or great, I'm going to have to work this scene and then go like work the other one on my way up. So I'm never going to get off this shift. I mean, because like I've worked other in the same type of situation where it was a horrible baby death, and it took me 4 hours to drive one way to a scene, what should have been an hour and a half drive. And I had this dead baby in the back seat of my car, and I was hungry driving on my way back. What should have been 3-hour round trip turned into 8-hour round trip. And the only thing that was open was a Taco Bell. And I like slid in through the drive-thru, and I was crying because I was so scared driving. And I remember getting up to the drive-thru, and they just looked at me like with these like concerned faces. And I was just telling them like how happy I was that they were still open. And they gave me my food for free because I was crying.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. But I'm just like, people don't understand, like, people still have to work when you're like in those crappy situations. Like, I'm going to do this job. And it's like, yeah, death doesn't stop because of,
weather.
ice storms. Yeah. So driving to the scene was like already making me so anxious. And I was like, annoyed, like this scene was an outdoor scene. So I was like, I'm about to freeze my butt off. So I'm like preparing myself mentally for this. And like I get off like on like County Road 1, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, whatever. And like GPS at this point is like not super helpful.
Not registering.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's like dirt roads at this point, or supposed to be. Like I'm trying to call these guys, like tell them where I'm at. And I'm like, hey, like, I think this is where I'm supposed to be. And I'm like, what am I supposed to be looking at this point? Because I turned at this house, but I'm not really seeing a dirt road anymore. And they're like, oh, well, you weren't really supposed to turn there. I'm like, well, I'm not seeing dirt roads anymore. It's all ice. So they're like, well, keep going up that road. You can probably cross that field. Okay. So I start going across that. Well, some of these power lines came down because of ice. And I'm like, so can I cross this? Can I cross over this power line that's down? I'm like, well, I hope I don't die. So I'm like, well, I have rubber tires at least. So we'll just risk it for the biscuit.
Science, Amy, science. Science, rubber tires.
So I risk it for the biscuit, drive over this, and I survive. Look, I'm still here. So here I am recounting this story. I get over the power lines, and I get over these power lines, and then I do see off in the distance, I see some flashing lights. I'm like, oh, yes, I hope that's them and not some other stupid thing going on. Like I can only handle one thing right now. So I get over there, and then what I'm seeing is there's this guy that's kind of like, he's half hanging out of a passenger seat. And so it's like his upper body and his upper like torso, head and right arm are hanging out of the passenger seat. And it's like a sedan type car.
Like he's like stretching out. It looks like he's just stretching out or something.
Yeah, like he's reaching out. Like it looked like he tried to get out of the car at some point, like from the driver's side of the seat or driver's seat. And it's in front of like a trailer home that sits back off this dirt road. And I was like, okay. So I'm like, why'd you guys turn off this car? It would have been a lot warmer in this car to work this scene if you would have left this car on, and this guy would have been thawed out instead of, his hair frozen.
Oh, his hair was frozen?
Yes, because it was bloody. And
oh,
yeah. We didn't think about that. I was like, so I was like, it's going to be one of those days.
Did you turn the car back on?
At this point when it mattered. So it's like, okay, well, what's the story here? So apparently this guy, he has a troublesome past, first of all. He's not the nicest guy, but he's here apparently to have come to fetch his girl.
Oh no.
okay, well, what is said girl doing at this place? Well, apparently this girl is here because she was here to see another guy. And she had apparently, or story is said, that they had broken up. And she was with a new guy that lives at this blue trailer home. And had now moved in with this guy at blue trailer home guy. So everything was cool with this guy, blue trailer home guy. This guy's not a fighter or whatever. Seems to be cool. So guy in the car, troublesome past, was not cool with this. That's his woman. He was not cool. According to him, they hadn't broken up. So.
Okay, wait. He's not alive to tell his side of the story. So who told you that they weren't broken up?
This is just a recounting according to friends and cell phone.
Oh. So cell phone has text from the girl on there too?
Yeah. And so I think there were like other friends there as well that were taking witness to this. The night prior to Carr being there and me being there, because at this point it was daylight, he decides that he is going to get drunk and upset and start a fight with her and decide that he is going to go get his woman. Well, new guy is not happy with this because now this is his woman. So guy in the car decides that he's going to show up and he has a gun and he brings a friend with him.
Oh, so this is part of the witness part.
Mm-hmm. He shows up to the house. He basically goes up to the house, like they pull into the driveway of the home. They go to the home, basically demands her to come out. And she's like, no, I'm not going to come out. We're not going to leave. I'm not going to come with you. I'm with this guy now. You guys like, no. She's staying here, whatever. Basically, a fight ensues. And so she's like, no, I don't want you guys to fight. I'll just go with him now, whatever. Like, I don't want
that's not the right answer.
No, it wasn't. Well, she grabs some of her things. She does get into the car with him. Well, new guy in blue trailer, we figure out he's not so nice guy. He then gets his gun and he starts shooting at guy in the car.
Wait, he could shoot the girl too, though, because she's in the car too.
Well,
oh no.
She gets out of the car. Guy in the car backs out and he starts driving down the front of the dirt road. Boom, boom, boom. You know, there's lots of shots fired. Well, he doesn't get very far down the dirt road because he's shot in the head. And then his car slowly then comes to a stop up to a tree. And, you know, he's trying to get out of his car.
Oh, okay.
Make it very far.
Yeah, but I thought the car was pulled up to the house.
He backed out. He was trying to get away.
Oh, so it just kind of pulled forward back to the house.
So he was pulled up to the house.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was a driveway up to the house. And then he starts backing out. And then he starts driving down the front of the house, like trying to get away down the dirt road. And that's where he ends up dying because he gets shot in the head.
Did he drive or was the friend driving?
No, he was driving.
So where was the friend at this point? Did the friend get out of the car too?
He was in the back seat. So he was able to get out.
Oh, and he didn't get shot.
Mm-mm.
So was the guy still there? Or did they take him into custody? The blue house guy?
Oh, no, he's in custody. Yeah. So, yeah, I get there and I'm like trying to look at this guy. I'm like, well, he didn't make it very far, did he? So, yeah, because I started looking through like his hair and stuff. And because this guy thought he was going to roll up on this guy in the blue house and start shooting him up. Well, you know what? It didn't work out very well for him.
So did the other guy end up having a criminal past also?
Oh, I don't remember. But yeah, looking through this guy, I'm like, I have 3 pairs of gloves on. I had even tried to put on like a normal pair of gloves first and then put like my latex gloves over. Well, that didn't work because I was trying to look for like the entry hole. Cause I was like, well, where the heck did this hit him? Cause this guy had long hair and it was like all bloody, but it was so cold that his hair froze. Like the blood made his hair freeze.
Like those Instagram videos where they're like walking outside and their hair like stands up straight or whatever.
Yes. But it was like all tangled and matted because remember like blood coagulates. And so it was like chunks of blood and stuff. And so I was like, well, this is going to be annoying. And so I'm like trying to like search for the entry. And then I'm like, okay, great. And then I like find that and like I can never find like the exit wound because his hair is so matted. And I'm like, this is crazy. It literally froze like his hair because it was so cold. And then, of course, he's wearing like 5,000 layers, which makes me even more annoyed because I'm like, in the lab, I'm going to have to take all these clothes off and take all these pictures of all this crap he's wearing for evidence.
Was he wearing like a bulletproof vest or anything?
No.
I just thought maybe he was prepared.
Stupid. No, he was stupid.
Did he get shot anywhere else?
No, not that I can remember. The main thing was like straight in the head. Like it was like left temple. He got shot. So, yeah.
What was it shooting him with?
It was just a handgun.
Oh.
It went through the car.
So he had pretty good aim.
If you have like a 45, those 45s, go through the window. Oh, yeah, you're done. I mean, and he was coming off his porch. The guy was like parked in the driveway right there. I mean, yeah, he's so dumb.
So what ended up, was the girl there when you were there?
Oh, no, they were already gone. They were all taken in for questioning at this time.
So she was trying to stand by both men.
Yeah, she was in quite the conundrum. She wanted her cake and eat it too. So...
What in the text message made you think that they were still together? Like, did she say that she still like loved him or whatever?
I'm trying to think of exactly what it had said. Like, she was saying like she still loved him and stuff. And I think she had said that like that's where she was and that she didn't really love this other guy. And I think she said she was just using this other guy. So, yeah.
For a place to live?
I think basically to make this other guy jealous. And this other guy was like a complete bum. So...
Yeah, he sounds like a bum. It sounds like he didn't...
Don't want no scrubs, Kelly.
But I'm just impressed that he was drinking. And did his friend drive him there? Because that could have been part of the problem too, right? You said he was drinking and he's backing out. So maybe he like...
You know, Kelly, when you live in the country, anything goes. And probably he like had to slide into there. Like it was all icy. I mean, it's not like a real driveway. It was like dirt. So
he drove drunk in ice and made it there without any problems, which is pretty impressive. I mean,
sometimes your best clarity when you're drunk is anger. So,
because I'm like, man, his guardian angel like gave up on him once he got there. Like, hey, man, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, I'm like, you're on your own now, dude. Like, you brought a gun, and yeah. I just remember like walking up on that and like standing there and I'm like, where do I even start with this? Like I was standing on top of this like an embankment and I remember the car like being in this embankment and there was like a tree and like I was standing on top of like the hill of that and like looking down like.
You said he was trying to get out of the passenger side?
Yeah, like he was trying to like crawl out of the passenger side because like where the car like ended up going into like was like the embankment, so he couldn't like open the driver's side door all the way. So like that was his only way of getting out. Like I was amazed that he was still alive with that type of head wound. So
maybe that was the alcohol part.
He was completely relaxed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's sad, but was he young?
Oh, yeah. He's in his 20s. Uh-huh. So there was all kinds of stuff in his car, too. All kinds of weed and other things.
Oh, great.
So
he was going to get in trouble eventually.
Well, he had been in trouble. I can't remember what all for, but Yeah, the guy was a dum-dum for sure. So, and she, I think, was also in trouble for other things before. I want to say it was drug related. I
not
know.
her.
They were like Bonnie and Clyde, Kelly, Bonnie and Clyde.
So next week is our 30th episode. And I think for our 30th episode, we're going to go back to the basics and we're going to do the ABCs of death investigation.
Mm-hmm.
Literally. Amy and I are going to go from A to Z and we're going to do some definitions and go back and recap some of the things that we've learned, like
things that Kelly has learned. Let's just clarify that. I know these things. Kelly does not.
We're going to throw things.
Just clarify that.
Yeah, it's degloving, right?
Yeah.
It's not ungloving.
Yeah.
We're calling it ungloving. So it's going to be D is for degloving. So we'll have stuff like that. But we're also going to have like J is for Jesus floppers. So just,
okay, hey, I taught you that one too.
So we're going to just go back and kind of go over some terms that maybe we need to like revisit. And then after that, for Valentine's Day, Amy has
Scorned Lovers.
Scorned Lovers. And that is probably
Valentine's Day. I'll make it extra worthy too, because I hate Valentine's Day. For all you people that have people, I hate you. You guys can take your Valentine's Day and suck it.
She's not bitter. But also, that's the whole reason that story is the whole reason we have a podcast, because I laughed so hard when you were telling the story over a Fortnite game. The Scorned Lovers. The Scorned Lovers one. Well, we'll talk about it when we record, because I laughed so hard, and not because the person died, but the story is so funny. So it's worth it. It's worth waiting for. So
you did not have a good Valentine's Day after that.
But if you have any questions, you could always email us at kelly@diaryofadeathinvestigator.com, or you can message us on our Instagram page, Diary of a Death Investigator. And until next time,
toodles.